On my first night in Hoopa, I found two tribal police officers parked next to the only gas station in town. They were talking to each other in separate police vehicles. I drove up at my car parked and walked up to an officer. I explained why I was in town looking for people who have witnessed Bigfoot and asked if he could shed any light on the issue. This officer was raised in the Hoopa area and is a native Indian. He stated that the Hoopa people believe in Bigfoot and that it lives in the trees, similar to what we saw in the movie Predator. He said that they believe that it lives in the middle zone between both dimensions and can travel between them. Bingo!
Okay, it is Thanksgiving 2022. We're in the middle of my town. I'm with my friend Eric. Check. Can you hear me?
Go.
Check, can you hear me?
Yep.
Eric's going to go down to ravine. He feels it might be humans that have done this, but when we look around and see the tree liens, tree structures, there's something else going on here. We're going to see how high this is. Eric's standing next to it. Eric, how tall are you?
There's a bag in here. This is done by people.
So my friend Eric thinks it's a human being that did it, which is fair enough based on, and there's always a possibility, but also based on the possibility and how Bigfoot works, they could have been doing it themselves. I would like to see.
I think either some kids wanted to build a fort and made like a little hangout, or even teenagers, or somebody comes down there and drinks because there's beer bottles and there's chip bags. People are hanging out down there. And plus they got.
Well, let me ask you this: is there a possibility that the teepee structure?
Good.
What are the possibility that the teepee structure was made first and then they started partying around it?
I would say that it's
okay. Can you? Okay, in order to make that teepee structure, they would have to strip down all those branches like they did here, and make that teepee structure.
Or they could have just found branches and leaned them on a tree. As simple as that.
Yeah, but those branches all have the smaller branches stripped off it.
Well, yeah. So I can find stuff laying on the ground that's the same condition.
Well, who would
prevent me from doing it?
Do you know any reason why anybody would want to do that?
Huh?
Do you know why anybody would want to do that?
I don't know. I don't know why anybody wants to do anything. All I know is those for sure. This I don't know if something fell over. I don't know. I'm not feeling any kind of anything. I feel more coming from over there.
The cemetery?
Here.
It's a fascinating thing to see how everyone sees things differently.
Huh?
I find it fascinating to see how everyone sees things so differently.
I see, like he says, like a hangout spot.
Well, sure.
Probably the kids in the neighborhood right across the street. This is where I go. If this was across the street from where I lived, I would hang out down there.
So do you think the kids did this as well then, huh?
I don't know about this. I mean, this. I don't know. I know one thing. They definitely don't want these trees growing out over into the cemetery. That's for sure.
Well, I would like to believe that you're right. I really would.
Yeah, I'm not getting any kind of feeling at all. Maybe when you take the pictures, maybe you see something, but I don't feel anything.
Right? It seems like it's human beings doing this, but if you pay attention, look at all the branches all stripped off. All the branches are stripped off these long tree structures, right? Then they got this one going down here. You see the tree there? All these trees have been put in this specific spot. And, you know, maybe people are dumb enough, there's a bunch of kids that are dumb enough to run around and do that.
I think somebody did that down there, for sure.
But what would be a possible thing? Okay, say there was a fire pit there, and then also possibly it could be that something decided to turn that into something a little bit more. Okay, so we did a little field research. I wanted to do more than we actually did. Yesterday, Thanksgiving, 2022, but we did. We at least go down to the ravine and show him that my friend Eric, a teepee structure. And it's interesting watching him because he reminds me of me in 2017, and thinking that, you know, asking all these questions, and you know, asking good questions, by the way, too, and you know, hey, you know, is it possible? Is it kids doing this or something like that? You know, or adults or people doing it? You know, but you know, I guess it's, and plus I've had, you know, encounters as well, so it's kind of, and I've seen several teepee structures in my area. I think, is it people practicing witchcraft, sorcery? I don't know. Could be. Is it people just having fun doing it? With the amount of tree structures, tree lanes, rough tree teepees, structures, axes, and etc. I mean, I don't need to be convinced, and I know I've seen other people also find structures where there were things very, you know, human, whether there's some beer can around or a bag or chips or whatever, and you know, yeah, you know, it's one of those things. It's very interesting. So, anyways, I want to look at a couple images that I found, or that I filmed, and I found, and going over the images from yesterday. This is the spot that a couple weeks ago I filmed. It's clear to me as a Bigfoot. There's the teepee structure, and this is where I would have filmed the Bigfoot. Although it's clearly it's not there now. Although there seems to be something going on. I don't know if it's a spirit of some sort that's forming. It's possible. It's a little blurry, but if you look right there at his head, possible eyes. Anyways, but we could compare the two. So that's that spot, and then if we go here, this is the same spot right? There's that tree, except and there's that log, and then there's what I clearly filmed. At least I feel clearly. An entity. You can see the eyes, the nostril, mouth, almost like a dog, man, apish, doggish head, a face at least, gray, then the hair, and it's brown. We'll go back to the other image, and you can see that's where that log would have been. This is where this would have been. As far as the two, you can see almost the same, except strangely enough, of course, it's a bit of a different angle, but as far as filmed, it's clearly captured something. At least I did that day. There's something going on there for sure. You can see that. That is, yeah, I guess I could edit this, but I'm not going to. This is only for those who are really interested. And if you see that, so my friend he's 6'2". I had it's interesting going through this. I imagine other people had the same experience, but I never really had this chance yet. And me and Eric really haven't had that much of a chance of doing any Bigfoot research before. We just started kind of doing things this fall, started stargazing, and then it went to going to the Mojave State Park and filming all these different spirits and all that. And so now, and I'm watching him go through this whole, how do I say this without sounding like a jerk and arrogant? Because I don't want to discourage him. I wanted to join me for the ride as long as he can, and maybe kid carry on. And maybe have his own encounter experience and go with it. But I can see where he's saying too that some kids got together and they made a teepee structure. Of course, it's a bit of a stretch, but it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it would take a lot of work. We talked about the whole idea of maybe having a good adult, or challenging him to do it. He said he thought he could do it in a couple hours, make the same kind of structure, in a couple hours, maybe if he gathered up enough the right shape branches and trees. I guess anybody could do it. I don't know. It's one of those things. How do you prove to people that what they're looking at? Because, when I started this too, I was like seeing these tree structures in 2017, and listening to Mark over there, Colorado Bigfoot and others, and I wasn't really buying it. I was thinking, oh, people have done this, this maybe these Boy Scouts have done this, but then you start seeing the size of some of these structures, and then you're just like, yeah, there's no way. There's just absolutely no way that people are. I mean, some could be certainly faked. I mean, it would be that difficult, I guess, at the end of the day, if somebody or a couple people who had nothing else better to do with their lives would try to fake tree structures. I mean, they certainly could do it. So, and it wouldn't be like they were the first ones to ever do it, right? So, a lot of people have faked a lot of things in this world. It's my experience when it comes to this whole genre of research. There's a lot of people that get their kicks off of faking all this stuff. They really do. I mean, they think it's the cat's meow to get involved with this kind of stuff. But I don't know. I guess it's too shy. But one of the things we found, which really that threw us off a little bit, was this thing. We saw it in the pond with all the geese and all that. That's up the hill and in the pond, from where that teepee structure is and the other structures. And we thought for sure that somebody killed a swan. Until we took a few pictures and we looked a little closer and we realized that that's not what this. I at least wonder if they use these things as like some kind of decoy to draw the geese in, which I don't know why they just didn't have geese, or maybe there's some kind of that they put them in the ponds to like break up the ice. Maybe they need some type of heater. But these type of tree structures, and I know it's kind of hard to even visualize it, and my problem is like trying to get around in this complicated mess of trees. It really is a tree structure. It's a combination like an X along with a teepee structure, pyramid, but it's not from the wind, and it's clearly that's what it is to me. But it's one of those things. How do you know unless you really get out there and start seeing things, comparing? Something interesting's going on right here, but I'm not going to tell you that that's a footprint or anything like that, or toe prints. Although it's going up the ravine. But this is how dense the thickets is. But what I noticed too with a lot of these places where they have these kind of structures, all the small trees are pretty much been removed. Now, mind you, this is a floodplain, and you can see the people's backyards over there. Kids could come down here, and I guess. We talked about, kids making forts and all that. It's kind of, I guess if you have no other material, but I have a hard time believing they couldn't figure out. I was a kid. I made ground forts and tree forts. And there's, yeah. I know I know what I'm looking at. And maybe you do as well, too. I don't believe that anybody did that, except something that we call Bigfoot or forest spirits or something like that. But, yeah, you can just see that it's so clear a day to me. Did the kids do all this? And here's the thing. I'm finding these structures, X structures, teepee structures, tree leans, and admittedly, probably a large number of them could possibly be from, simply die off, weather, wind, that kind of thing, but not all of them. And the amount of them in my town it's ridiculous. These are like branches and trees that are completely out of place and have been deliberately brought into this area. And I can see why Eric and others would say it's bullshit. I understand completely, but so anyways, what I want to show, it is interesting. People were throwing pumpkins or something brought pumpkins down into the ravine. Sure, I could see how people might want to throw their pumpkins into the forest. You know what I mean? In the woods, the edge there. It's maybe. Although I don't see why. Yeah, you could. You can see there's a fire hydrant there, and they wouldn't have the fire hydrant behind the house. You can see this is very close to the road, so I guess people could walk over across the street and throw the pumpkins in that ravine. I'd imagine a lot of people do something like that. Hello, autumn. And so there's so many tree structures. This is earlier this week. I spent 10 minutes when I went grocery shopping to look at some of the tree structures. As you can see here, we got another example of the tree structures. Trees being leaned there against this tree, and you could, and unfortunately with stills and all that, I can't and the position, I can't prove it to you from this way visually that these trees, these long thin branches or trees, were brought to this area. They weren't growing next to that wall. The more shrubbery, the shrub type ones would do that. Tree liens going to, a great example of tree lien, although this is a floodplain and there's the creek, and when it floods, if it was, trees should be going the other direction. They're going this way against the current, if you will. So I don't know how I don't know how I prove anything to you guys. I'm actually pretty much, I don't know. I know I can't prove it to you. I can just share what I'm seeing, what's happening. It's interesting. All these tree liens are going towards this wall. All along the wall. You see there's this tree lien there, and as my wall that fell apart. Anyways, it's just water damage, and I started peeling back this plaster, and it's like, oh, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? I can't really do much of anything. So let's go back here. Let's see if we can get where I wanted to get. Yeah, let's just go here. Pictures. And yeah, I'm clearly using my son's computer. He's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. Let's just some of the images that I found. I found it interesting what I believe to be a tree spirit, or something actually popping out of a tree. Let's see if we can get to that and find it. So, which is the first one? I guess is this one. So, anyways, right here you can see the two eyes, the nose. You don't see the teeth. It's right there. Sees it popping right out of the tree, and so you can. And you can see it. I mean, it's okay. We'll say it's pareidolia if you want to say it's pareidolia, but I honestly don't think it's pareidolia. Could be wrong. Always could be wrong, right? Always. Except I've had so many of these things happen where you see like a head popping out of the tree. Now, how's that happening? You could say it's pareidolia all you want, but at this point, I'm pretty much convinced people don't know what they're talking about when they say that. They're just saying it because they're regurgitating what they've heard from other people. This one is interesting that we filmed today. It's not very clear or not very good, but you can see the two eyes, the nose, the mouth, the head. This is in the top of the ravine. You can see there's the houses. There's the top of the other side of the ravine from where I was standing. Is it that one? I could accept more as being pareidolia than this one. This one, I've seen this too many times. This is something slowly manifesting out of the trees. So, and let's see what else is. The duck. There's something strange going on here. Slowly manifesting or materializing. I can almost see something, but it'd be very difficult to see. There might be something going on here too. But I'm not going to put my money on that. Yeah, there's something down here. There's something happening in here too. You can see the two eyes, the nose, the mouth, the head. Slowly materializing. Is this the same? Which image is this? Let's see if you can find this one. Oh, I think it's right in here. Yeah. So it's going on right in here. It's two. It's too blurry in this image, isn't it? Where the heck would it be? I can't see it at all in this one. It can't be this one. Hey, let's get back to this one. So this one seems interesting too, like it's something trying to materialize here. That same location once again where I originally filmed this entity here in this corner that looks like the dog man. Let's see if we can get, maybe we can go. And I filmed a lot of stuff. So there's better image of it. Just close up. So this is 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago when I filmed this. And then yesterday, it would be now, we can look at this one that's same location. And there's no Bigfoot now, but there's something going on materializing, in my belief. So, what is going on when it comes to Bigfoot? People will think we'll be arguing forever and eternity. Is it a spirit, like a lot of Native Americans believed, or is it a flesh and blood thing? Is it something that's interdimensional that comes in and out of this realm into so there you see right there the one that I filmed is you can clearly see the face and the eyes. Or then you got this the same spot, but now it's not there anymore. There's something else going on. Is there something going on over there? Unfortunately, I couldn't get down into the ravine, so I had my buddy go down there. But when this is first time investigating, so we didn't really have a chance to talk, and I don't even know if we would talk about it. To be honest, it's almost like you have to spend the time spending several hours at least, or more. It's to start looking at. Actually, I just realized we did go Bigfoot researching back in 2018 or 19 together. We did, in which we filmed a flying cat. Black cat. Anyways, so I said earlier we didn't do that, but actually we did. So I apologize to Eric if he hears this. And I'm not going to edit this because I just I really don't want to, so it's not that important. So to me, it's not like the end of the world. Yeah, a lot of images we filmed, that's for sure. Together we filmed some interesting things. I do believe there's something going on there. I bet you somebody with a contrast and some lighting could probably bring out something that's in here and some here. I ain't gonna do it. I don't even have the software to do it. So anyways, I used to, but I don't even think with this P900 I don't even think I need to do it. So but anyways, there's something kind of manifesting there. I strongly believe that there's something spiritual in nature going on. I don't know if there's anything there or not. I don't think there's anything in there, to be honest with you. There could be something for spirit wise. I find that just fascinating how that just popped out just like that. That might be one of the most interesting images I've ever filmed. That's kind of interesting in its own right. Let's look at that again. You see, if I blow it up too much, is it going to get all blurry? Yeah, it gets all blurry. Now, I noticed they do use the foliage at least too, and the trunk. You notice how it's the grayness of the trunk. You can see how it's popping out right there. So I know that's what the message I have upsets about 80% of all Bigfooters because they They insist it has to be solely flesh and blood. And I honestly think that we're dealing with something that's multidimensional and spiritual in nature. That they're part of the realm of darkness and the night. And that's why we never see these things. We talked about, Eric brought up a lot of the questions a lot of people bring up when they're first doing this stuff. I mean, really, like, thinking about it, like putting some time into thinking about it, which he's just starting to do, I guess. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. But I can see him how I was prior to having all these experiences and having my eyes open and seeing things, you know what I mean? And so the questions he asked are very valid. I think everybody asks. And quite reasonable. What are we dealing with? Is it just people doing this? Is it people, maybe the practice of witchcraft doing this? We know that, or at least we've been given this, been told that, X's are an important thing and pyramids are important and all that kind of stuff. Or there's something deeper going on. I mean, it's probably a combination of things. There's hoaxers, there's kids, there's people practicing witchcraft, there's spirits, there's Bigfoot. I mean, it's a lot more complicated. And, as far as like the teepee structure, I don't believe for a moment that those have anything to do with shelter at all. And anybody who's been paying attention, these things and what's been going on with, let's see if we can find the right thing. Will probably agree with me. That we're not dealing with. They're not practical as structures. Are they hunting blinds? I don't even think they're that. Is this practical as a structure? I mean, even this one right here, is that practical as a structure? It's just shelter. Excuse me. I say structure. Anyways, at some point I'm going to stop making videos because my thinking is just deteriorating. But yeah, I mean, is that practical as shelter? No. Practical as a hunting blind? No. What are they doing this for? Is this some kind of portal that they create? Some people say that it's some kind of portal, and I think they might be right. I think there might be more to do with some kind of portal. I see my friend, his stomach is bloated from eating Thanksgiving food. Sorry, Eric, but what is. So, I mean, you can just see this. I mean, he did go under there, so who knows? He went under there. You can see how, and he's 6'2". And yeah, I don't know what else to say except that this is what our investigation turned out to be. We just went back to the spot that I'm glad we did. So we have an idea of what that one structure is as far as height goes. Whether he, or anybody else believes that it was a person, whether it's a person that did it or a Bigfoot that did it, or I don't know where I saw this, but there is something definitely going on in here. Well, I shouldn't say definitely, but it sure appears like it, almost like something trying to materialize. Mind you, it's also getting a little fuzzy and bluzzy, so let's see. But yeah, this right here, I mean, I've seen so many videos and so many images of teepee structures, and I certainly, yeah, you could have kids do it, and he found a tarp in there, and it'd be interesting to take that out and see if maybe the kids were trying to make a teepee with the tarp, or maybe there was something trying to sit on that tarp. It is quite muddy, especially when it rains, so it just goes to show you how this universe, this world works. You finally get some freaking health, right? Right? no, excuse me. You finally get to know the truth about some stuff. Sorry about sounding like a flake tonight. I could redo this, but I'm not gonna do it because it's just I don't care. To be honest with you, how perfect it is. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just sharing my journey with you. So, yeah, but I don't know what I was going to say now. This whole thing about this teepee structure, I mean, kids could do it, and Boy Scouts could want to do it, I guess. But in the cemetery, on the edge of a cemetery, in the middle of town, yeah, Oakman's. It's either two possibilities as it comes down to. Either kids did this, or teenagers did this, humans did this, or something else did this. That's your options, right? Something that's in line with Bigfoot. And you see all these structures, and out west, and massive. You know what I mean? Very complex structures, and also there's other places. It's funny, like here in like the Great Lakes regions and the east, and all, or at least our neck of the woods, figuratively speaking, and the structures aren't as big usually, and they're much more. A lot of times they're more subtle. Other times they're amazing. There's a guy in Minnesota. He's been filming some amazing stuff. The structures he's finding in the middle of the woods is like shockingly complicated. And, they're not like giant big trees and stuff. They're just like what we're seeing here in this video. And, I do notice a lot of these areas, it seems like a lot of the smaller trees, because this like around this whole area right here where this is built is like all the small trees have been, pretty much removed, period. Like something went out of its way to get rid of all those trees and went way out of the way. No, it could be a human being, or it could be what we call Sebe, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Grassman. I find it fascinating, and I find it very reasonable if you think it's not. To be honest with you, I mean, I think it's something's going on. It's not just simply my vivid imagination. And there's a big old tree lean right here. You could see, and there's another one right there. And damn, I just wish this truth is revealed to me, and this is how the universe works. This is how God, whatever the heck it is. Like, I mean, it's a cruel joke is what it is. Life multi-times is like a cruel joke. You finally, how many times you end up having this opportunity to get to know these truths, and then somehow the time or opportunity or things get in the way, and it's get taken away from you. You can't do any more with it, right? Anyways, I should maybe just shut up. I am tired. I haven't been feeling very well. That must have been pretty bad, so.
You're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind.
Running if I